That big building behind me on the left is the Old Bailey, one of the main places in this country where sort of justice is handed out, let's say. I think I want to talk about law. Most misunderstood, isn't it, in the Christian world? Is, are we under the law? Are we under grace? Do we take it too far to one extreme or the other extreme? Where do we stand as Christians, particularly Gentile Christians, in terms of law? Well, let me have a go at this. So it starts off, Moses goes up the mountain, Mount Sinai, got his 2 million Israelites there at the bottom, comes down with these 2 tablets. God speaks, and then the 10 commandments are read out, and followed by these other laws, 603 altogether, plus 10 commandments, so 613 laws. So God also says, will you come into covenant with me? Will you be my kingdom of priests? And of course they said yes, and by doing so, by making that agreement, they were saying, okay, these are your laws. The covenant that we have with you, which has gone down as the Moses covenant, or the Mosaic covenant, this covenant is that we'll do our best to keep these laws. And this is what they did, and history shows us that they broke more than they kept, and that's just human nature. None of us would do any better or any worse, really. So we move down in history. Jesus comes along, and in the book of Jeremiah 31, there's the promise of a new covenant, and it says in this covenant the law will be in your hearts, the Torah will be in your hearts. So Jesus comes along, we're under this new covenant, so this covenant with Moses is no more, but, and here's the catch, the laws are still there. They haven't been stopped. God just doesn't take them back and say that, I've made a mistake, those 613, they don't exist anymore. Of course, some of them can't be carried out when there's no temple, for instance, and we're living in different times, but the principle is the same, which is why Jesus says in Matthew 5 that the Torah is not ended, not one jot or tittle has ended, and it's always been a mystery verse to many. And what we have to realise is that we're not under the same covenant as Moses. We're under the new covenant, we're under the covenant of Jesus, but the Torah is not the old covenant. The Torah is just a group of laws. We are under Torah. We are still under Torah. We call it the Jesus Torah. Jesus gave plenty of rules and regulations. You look in Matthew 5, the Beatitudes, you look at all through the Gospels, there's law after law. Jesus says, do this, do that. And of course he's modifying laws from the Old Testament. He's saying, it's not just enough to kill people, but it's to have anger in your heart is a sin. In the same way, lust in your heart is a sin, not just carrying out adultery. So, but these are still laws. Don't ever say that we're under grace and not law. We're under both. God gives us grace, but without law we are lawless. Without law we have no way of knowing right from wrong, and unfortunately Christians say, well, God will just show me what to do in all situations, but he's also given me his word. His word is truth. Thy word is truth. The word, Old Testament as well as New, we've got to follow the law, otherwise anything goes, and we see that a lot in the church. Anything goes. It's called antinomianism. It's living, let's say, a life that has totally without the need for law, and that is ridiculous. It's a total misunderstanding of the whole thing. So I hope that's made it a bit clearer. There's a whole chapter in my book explaining it, living the life. In fact, if you want the whole thing explained, I've got a whole book that delves into this and other subjects, and it's called God's Tapestry if you're interested. So have a good day, and hopefully neither of us will ever have cause to go inside that building, except maybe to observe.